Good day to you, partner. I'm keen, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
Hey guys, Wheatsolo here, aka the Skeleton King. The first thing you do with any necromancer that's going to be running an Act 2 Merc is to make sure your Act 2 Merc is a Defiance Emilio. Emilio has 10% higher base stance. That's a fact. Okay, so now that we have Emilio, well, why do we have Emilio? I have Infinity main hand. Right, that's a continuation of the fabled dual scythe Infinity meme fire golem build. Well, this is the serious version. The dual scythe or the dual Infinity was kind of a nightmare. I think there is some world where it works. By the way, I do know what is going on with Cyclone Armor now. You cannot overwrite Cyclone Armor with a lower level Cyclone Armor. I'm pretty sure that problem does not occur with Bone Armor. In fact, I'm nearly positive because I would have noticed that at some point, basically with a skill shrine or some other interaction. But with Cyclone Armor, if you have a, let's say, level 15 Cyclone and then try to cast a level 10 Cyclone, you cannot, even if you've lost all your durability except for 10. Even if that didn't have that effect, having to swap between your weapons constantly in a map was pretty awkward. So now we're just going with a main hand scythe, and we're still going to be hitting 125 FCR. Of course, that's going to be a little bit tougher, but we have the gear to do it, okay? Do you need 125 FCR? No. In fact, if I did this build again, I would probably drop FCR and run Enigma, or if I kept Blood Warp and kept 125 FCR, I'd sink a little more points in the Blood Warp so I could run a few key other items. First, let's kind of finish off why we're even having a main hand Infinity anyways. Okay, well, we're going to have to say something else real quickly. Why am I being a retarded person? Smashing my mouse and getting upset about it. One of the reasons I'm not going to be doing a serious map right now is my laptop setup isn't as good as it usually is, and also my mouse is apparently breaking, which sucks because I love this mouse, and I had one for 8 years that was fine, and then I finally had to replace it, and just like everything else in America, it got worse, just years later. Apparently they can't make it as good, or I don't know, maybe I got a lemon. That does exist. In fact, maybe I should try to get my lemon law rights. What if they had the lemon law for everything? So my mouth. Okay, sorry. Oh, you see, there's a reason why sometimes everything being fair would actually be a nightmare, because it would just be way too much operating costs for a business to have to deal with the lemon law for a product as silly as a mouse. On the other hand, it's really annoying for me as a customer to have to deal with a lemon mouse, which I guarantee you they know the percent chance their mouse does not work. Like, it'll pass all the tests, and then it will get out to me, and they'll go, 1% of our mouses suck, or 0.1% of our mouses suck. They're lemons. Anyway, sorry, economic rant, okay? There's a reason why things aren't perfect. Sometimes doing things perfect actually is worse. All right. Sorry, I just finished midterms, okay, and I had to do a lot of work on sustainability, and the way my sustainability class is being taught, it seems to misappropriate economic terms and take them completely out of context. Like, again, economics is a scientific field, and you can be taught it that way. It doesn't mean anyone's trying to say it's better for how the world should operate. It's just trying to define why necessarily some things could work in one fashion, kind of like a lemon law. And then if you look at the cost of enacting a lemon law, it could actually cost a society more to have a lemon law in operation for every single product in existence. In fact, it probably costs more as it is to have it in existence. We just make the decision that if somebody buys a car and it's a lemon, let's give the dude a break. Okay, we'll take a slight loss as a society to have people not have to deal with it. And that's okay for societies to deal with as well. All right, we actually make that decision all the time in economics. In fact, many great economic thinkers, Paul Samuelson, Keynes, Even Milton Friedman admits there is some amount of loss that we will take because it is worth it to us. Okay? He is always taken out of context. Yes, he said one time we should maximize profits, but it was a very specific example, and he even gave more context to that later on. Sorry, it's my teacher. Okay, let's get to this video. Anyways, I love economics, okay? It was my original passion in life. And, then the world crushed my dreams, basically. I'm a victim. That's the most important thing. All right, so my mouse is making me a victim. Let's try to finish off what I'm trying to fucking talk about. I'm not doing a serious map, which is probably why I'm not taking this video very seriously, partly because my mouse is having issues and my laptop setup isn't good. Why does this build work? Why would you ever do main hand Infinity? Especially with a scythe. You get O-skill Cyclone Armor. If you see at the bottom, I have very high Bone Armor and Cyclone Armor, and I'm actually pretty tanky. Is it better than just having more defense? Well, that is part of the reason why we switched to Emilio, because he has a higher Defiance Aura, and I feel a little bit better. I also upgraded some of the armor I'm running. In fact, when I do return to this build, I will change it up a bit. I will make sure I have an Oak Sage, because my life regen is a little annoying. I will admit that, and there's kind of not an easy way to deal with that other than just to chug pots, and chugging pots is kind of ass. But for a casual playthrough, yes, I know it's a T1, but these enemies have 6% fire absorb. I think the damage is very solid for a pretty minor swap. And yes, you can do even less of a swap. I literally can't right now because I need every plus skill on me to hit 30 Blood Warp. I mean, I guess I could have not swapped the Ami or something, but, a couple of items swap I think is okay. But when I come back to it, I'm going to do less of a swap. And one of the great things about Emilio is that I can run Zenith with Flickering Flame instead of just the Infinity with Flickering Flame on him. And Zenith also gives you a ton of res. So when I come back to this build, and you'll see I have ums in armor, and I have a lum in my chest because I don't care about trying to fix it right now, is I could try to put into account the fact that I will now have a Salvation Aura for resistances. I don't have to run that Maras. So I could really come back to this, do it way better, put in a better time, and show you guys that this build, this is the best small swap summoner I've ever played. I'd put one thing as a tie with it. No swap Skellymancer. Well, Skelly King out for now, guys. GG.
Come and play with us, Daddy.